Job interviews, right. Sometimes it feels like you need a decoder ring just to figure out what they're really asking.
Especially now with all this AI stuff changing the game.
Exactly. But hey, good news for our listener today. We are tackling automated cutting machine operator interviews.
There you go.
We're armed with intel from RoleCatcher, ready to break it all down.
And it's a good field to be in, lots of opportunities. So knowing how to nail that interview it's huge.
Definitely a smart move for our listener to be prepping.
Mm.
So they're going to this automated cutting machine operator gig, but what does that even mean on a day-to-day basis?
So imagine you're basically running these super precise cutting machines, taking the design files, getting the materials prepped, and then making sure the machine cuts everything perfectly. You're all about precision. You're all about quality control.
Got it. So you're the one who makes sure that table leg isn't wobbly or that, like, airplane wing is...
You're the last line of defense, yes.
No pressure. High stakes. Which is why you'd want something like RoleCatcher in your corner, right?
100%. And the thing is, they've got these guides that are like super specific.
Okay.
They use AI to really tailor the advice. So for this deep dive, we're looking at their career guide, their interview guide, and they even have this thing where the AI will like assess your answers.
Whoa. Okay, I'm very curious to see how this plays out as we go through the questions.
Yeah, let's do it.
So first one, it sounds simple, maybe deceptively simple. Can you tell us about your experience working with automated cutting machines? What's the catch?
Well, they want you to tell a story, but not just any story, right? They want to hear about the stuff that's relevant to them.
Okay, so not just, I've used this machine, but more like...
More like, I used this machine and I solved this crazy problem, or everyone else was having trouble with this one technique, but I mastered it. That kind of thing.
Show off a little.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where RoleCatcher's AI is super helpful because
Yeah.
it can actually look at your work history and be like, hey, remember that time you did this? That's perfect for this employer.
Oh, that's cool. It's like a...
Like a memory jogger, but for your career.
I like it. Okay. Next one's a big one. How do you ensure the safety of yourself and others when operating automated cutting machines? Safety's huge in any environment, but especially, I imagine.
You've got to be on top of it, right? And they want to know you're not just following the rules to check a box, but that you get it. You live it.
Okay.
So don't just say you wear your PPE. Tell them why each piece is important, how it protects you. And RoleCatcher mentioned that a lot of places in this industry use name a protocol the listener might know.
Right.
If you have experience with that, definitely talk about it.
So you're already speaking their language, showing that
You fit in. You're already thinking like they think. And here's the thing. RoleCatcher can even tell you what safety protocols this particular company really values.
Oh, wow.
They pull it from job postings and company data. It's pretty impressive.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this AI thing is a game changer.
Right.
All right, this one screams problem solver. How do you troubleshoot and resolve issues with automated cutting machines?
Love this question. So this is all about your process, right? What's your system? Do you start by isolating the problem? Do you check for error codes? Maybe you have a go-to resource or like a mentor you can call. Take them through it step by step.
Because even with automation, things are going to go wrong, and they need someone who can.
Think on their feet. Be resourceful.
Exactly. What about the tech side? Should our listener be name-dropping any specific systems they've used?
Oh, yeah. RoleCatcher's career guide actually mentioned that specific software or technology is pretty standard in the field.
Good to know.
If you know that system inside and out, that's going to give you a leg up for sure.
And that's another thing RoleCatcher's AI can help with, right? Like,
Yeah.
if you've used something similar but maybe not that exact system, it can help you connect the dots for them.
Exactly. It can help you translate your past experience in a way that really clicks for the interviewer.
I'm telling you, this is wild. Okay, let's move on. How do you ensure the quality of the cuts on the materials being processed by the automated cutting machine?
Right.
I mean, it seems straightforward, but...
It's more than just making sure it looks good.
Oh, right.
Different materials, different settings, different tolerances. This is where you really show off that you understand the materials, the machines, the whole 9 yards.
Got it. Did RoleCatcher offer any insights on this one?
Yeah, they had a good point. They highlighted that specific insight from RoleCatcher on quality control in this field. Mentioning something like that shows you're not just winging it. You've actually, done your research.
You've done your homework.
Yeah.
I like it. Okay, this next one is interesting. Can you describe a time when you had to collaborate with others on a project involving automated cutting machines? I don't always think of team player as the first thing that comes to mind for these more high-tech roles.
It's more common than you'd think. Think about it. Maybe you had to work with the engineers on some design tweak, or maybe you had to coordinate with the supply chain folks to get the right materials. It's all about communication, working together to get the job done.
Right. Would RoleCatcher have any specific insights about what makes for good collaboration in this field?
Oh yeah, for sure. For example, they mentioned that specific insight from RoleCatcher on collaboration in this field. Weaving that kind of detail into your answer shows that you understand the nuances of teamwork in this environment.
It's like you've been there, you get it. Smart. Okay, another question. How do you stay up to date with advancements and changes in automated cutting machine technology? This feels like one they always ask,
Yeah,
but it always throws me off a little.
it's about showing that you're curious, that you're passionate about what you do. So mention those industry publications you read, like,
Yeah.
name a relevant industry publication, for example. Or maybe you're part of an online forum where you chat with other operators.
Oh, I like that.
Hmm.
You're not just keeping up, you're like,
Ahead of the curve.
exactly.
And if you can think of a time when you learned something new and it actually helped you on the job, boom, that's
It
perfect.
shows that growth mindset, right?
Yeah.
You're always learning. All right, next up. How do you ensure the efficient operation of automated cutting machines? I feel like this is where they try to suss out if you're the type to just coast or if you're really trying to,
Maximize everything.
yes.
Well, think about it. Do you do your maintenance regularly so that the machine doesn't break down? Do you tweak the settings to get that extra bit of performance? Those are the things they're looking for.
So knowing the machines inside and out is key here, it sounds like.
It makes a huge difference.
Does RoleCatcher have any strategies they recommend as being particularly effective in?
Oh, yeah. They had some cool data on this, actually. Apparently, operators who prioritize specific strategy from RoleCatcher tend to have way higher efficiency ratings.
Interesting. Okay, so it's not about working hard, it's about working.
Smarter, not harder.
Yes. And knowing those industry best practices, which, again, RoleCatcher can help with.
Exactly. And they can even give you personalized recommendations based on your own work history. It's pretty amazing.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, shifting gears a bit. This one's interesting. Can you describe a time when you had to train or mentor other operators on the use of automated cutting machines? This is less about the technical and more about, like,
Leadership, definitely.
yeah.
And even if you haven't had a formal training role, think about a time you helped a colleague, figure something out. Maybe they were having trouble with a technique or something. It's all about showing that you can communicate clearly and share your knowledge.
And probably a good story goes a long way here, right?
Oh, for sure. RoleCatcher actually recommends using the STAR method.
The STAR method, okay.
Yeah, that stands for situation, task, action, result. So you're walking them through it like a story, but it's structured so you hit all the key points.
I love a good framework. All right, next one feels like a big one. Ready?
Hit me.
How do you prioritize and manage your workload when operating multiple automated cutting machines? I'm picturing like spinning plates and trying not to let anything drop.
It's all about staying calm under pressure, right? You've got deadlines, you've got multiple machines going at once. You have to be organized. You have to have a system.
So do you have any tips for our listener on how to answer this one effectively? What should they focus on?
Well, one thing RoleCatcher emphasized in their career guide was the importance of specific time management strategy from RoleCatcher.
Okay, interesting. So it's not just about being able to handle a lot of things at once, but about having strategies in place to manage it all.
Exactly. And again, that's something RoleCatcher's AI can help with. They can look at your work style and suggest time management techniques that might be a good fit for you.
It's like having a personal productivity coach.
Yeah.
All right, last question in this section, and it's another big one. How do you ensure compliance with environmental and safety regulations when operating automated cutting machines? This feels like it's less about technical skills and more about
Responsibility, yeah.
like awareness and...
Being proactive.
Exactly. It's one thing to know the regulations, but how do you make sure they're being followed, day in and day out?
It's about walking the walk, not just talking the talk.
Right. Any tips on how to approach this one? It feels like it could go off the rails easily if you're not careful.
You're right. It's all about striking the right tone. RoleCatcher had a good suggestion, actually. They said to try framing your answer around a specific example.
Okay.
Like, talk about a time when you spotted a potential safety hazard and you took action, you fixed it. Or maybe a time when you went above and beyond to make sure you were in compliance with some environmental regulation. Something concrete that shows this isn't just theoretical for you, you're living it.
I like that. Yeah, it shows that you're not just following the rules because you have to. You're following them because you get it.
Exactly.
You're bought in.
And here's where RoleCatcher's AI can be super helpful. They can keep you updated on the latest regulations in your field, provide you with safety resources, even help you identify potential hazards. It's pretty wild.
It's like having a little safety consultant in your pocket. Okay, so we've talked about the interview itself, but let's zoom out for a minute. What's the work environment actually like for an automated cutting machine operator?
So imagine being surrounded by these amazing machines. It's a busy environment, often fast-paced, but there's a real sense of accomplishment when you see those raw materials transformed.
It's like you're part of the making
No
process.
supplier.
Very cool. Okay, from your experience, what are some of the pros and cons that might surprise someone who's considering this field, things they might not expect?
That's a good question. One of the pros that people are often surprised by is the opportunity for specialization. You get some experience under your belt. You might find that you really love a specific type of cutting, a certain material, even a certain industry.
You become like the go-to person, the expert in laser cutting, I don't know, titanium gears for spaceships or something.
Exactly. There you go. Now, a con that sometimes throws people off is it can be repetitive.
Right.
You're going to be doing some things over and over again. And for some people, that's not going to fly.
Yeah, you've got to be someone who finds satisfaction in
The precision of it.
in the process. What about growth? Like, where does this role lead? What's the career path look like?
Oh, tons of options, actually. You could move into like a supervisory role, leading a team of operators.
Okay.
Or with the right experience, maybe some extra training, you could go into quality control or process improvement.
Interesting.
Some people even end up on the engineering side working on the design of new cutting tech, which is really cool.
So you could go from shop floor to like R&D lab. That's pretty amazing.
It's a very dynamic field, and RoleCatcher actually does a great job of breaking down those different paths in their career guide. They even talk about, if you need additional certifications or training programs, things like that, that can help you, move up the ladder.
Very cool. Okay, I like it. So speaking of leveling up, before we wrap up this section on interview questions, any last words of wisdom for our listener as they're getting ready to go in there and crush it?
Beyond all the technical stuff, what really makes someone stand out is genuine enthusiasm. If you can show that you're passionate about this field, about the tech, about the challenge of, creating something precise and beautiful, that goes a long way.
It's like, what is it? Enthusiasm is contagious or something like that.
Exactly. And don't forget, you've got RoleCatcher in your back pocket. Their
Right.
AI can help you with your resume. It can help you practice your answers. And it even gives you feedback that's tailored to the specific company and the specific role that you're going for.
It's like having a whole team of career coaches at your fingertips. I love it. All right, so we've talked about what the role is. We've gone through a bunch of those tough interview questions. Let's shift gears a bit and talk about the work environment itself. What's it actually like to be an automated cutting machine operator day in and day out?
Well, imagine being surrounded by all of these really cool machines. It's a dynamic environment. It's usually pretty fast-paced, but there's a real sense of accomplishment that comes with seeing raw materials transformed into these really precise finished products.
Yeah, you're part of the making process. You're building something.
Exactly.
I love that. Okay, from your experience, what are some of the pros and cons that might surprise someone who's considering this field, things they might not expect?
Well, one of the pros that often takes people by surprise is the opportunity for specialization. Once you've got some experience under your belt, you might find yourself drawn to a specific type of cutting, maybe a certain material or even a particular industry.
So instead of being just an operator, you could be the laser cutting guru for, I don't know, medical implants.
Exactly. You build your own little niche.
That's really neat.
Now, on the flip side, one thing that some folks don't always realize is that it can get, a little repetitive.
Right.
You are going to be doing some of the same things over and over, and for some people, that's just not a good fit.
Makes sense. You've got to be someone who enjoys the precision, the process itself.
Yeah, it's about finding the satisfaction in that.
Definitely. But even though there are those repetitive tasks, the technology's always changing. So
Always something new to learn, always new challenges.
never really just doing the same thing day in and day out. Okay, I like that. What about growth? What does the career ladder look like for this role?
Oh, there are a lot of directions you could go. So you could go for a supervisory position, lead a whole team of operators.
Okay.
Or with some more experience, maybe you take some additional training courses. You could move into something like quality control or process improvement.
Interesting.
Yes, they even seen some people make the leap to the engineering side where they're actually working on the design of the new cutting technology, which is,
That's very cool.
That's the dream.
Yeah. So from like shop floor to the R&D lab, that's pretty impressive.
There's a lot of potential, a lot of upward mobility in this field, definitely.
I like it. So it's not a dead end, that's for sure.
Not at all. And RoleCatcher actually does a great job of like laying out those different paths, those different options in their career guide. They even have advice on what kind of certifications or training programs would be helpful, to help you make that jump to qualify for those higher level roles.
Oh, that's really smart.
Yeah.
They've really thought of everything.
They really have.
I like it. Okay, this has been great. So as we wrap up our deep dive into the world of automated cutting machine operator interviews, any final words of wisdom for our listener who's, about to go out there and put themselves out there?
Honestly, I would say, beyond all the technical stuff, all the skills and experience, what really shines through is when someone's truly enthusiastic, If you can convey your passion for this field, for the technology, for the challenge of creating something, really precise and high quality, that makes a huge difference.
Yeah, it's like you can tell when someone's just going through the motions and when they really,
They've got that spark.
Yes.
And don't forget, you've got RoleCatcher in your back pocket helping you every step of the way.
Right, with that AI magic.
Exactly. Their AI platform can help you, polish up that resume, practice your answers until you've got them down cold, even get personalized feedback based on the specific company and the specific role. That's huge.
It's like having like a whole team of career coaches cheering you on.
There you go.
I love it. Well, listener, we hope this deep dive has armed you with everything you need to crush that interview. Best of luck out there. We're rooting for you.
Absolutely. Go get them.